Okay, Biffy, I'm back. I don't know that I cleared my throat or not, but I'm back anyways. Okay, sounds good. Pardon me.
Friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
Throughout the Ohio Valley, back to school is looking different. Each day, parents, teachers, students, coaches, and administrators are finding solutions to situations that are unprecedented. All of us at the Highlands appreciate everything you are doing and are here for the items you need. Visit hitthehighlands.com for the current guidelines and updated contact information of our retailers and restaurants.
Frio Stack & Associates Auctioneers, Realtors, Certified Appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack & Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack & Associates sells the earth and everything on it.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday, mostly cloudy, the chance for a scattered shower or maybe even a snowflake or two in the forecast, high near 41. Overnight low, 27 degrees under partly cloudy skies, a mix of clouds and sunshine for your Wednesday with highs in the lower 40s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard behind the board in the producer's chair.
Well, we have a lot to deal with today on this Tuesday edition of the Watchdog Morning Show. The Education Association in West Virginia, the teachers union, one of the teachers unions, wants remote schooling to be done in the Mountain State through the end of the year. The governor recently imposed a 1-week remote learning requirement after Thanksgiving to try and give people a chance to clear up after any spreading that might occur there. The WVEA says, why bother with a week? Let's just keep it on going through the end of the year. Governor Justice disagrees as he continues to defend his position on COVID precautions, including tightening up the mask mandate. And Nexstar Media Chief Political Correspondent Mark Curtis will be in with us to discuss that coming up a little bit later on. Our Countdown to Christmas shopping series continues with lifestyle blogger Mario Armstrong offering some gift tips, including high-tech and gaming opportunities, among other things. We'll take a deeper dive into the latest proposed coronavirus vaccine, hear about a win from an Ohio journalism group. We'll look at more ways Thanksgiving will be different this year. We were discussing right before the break the likelihood of the Super Six maybe not being in the city of Wheeling. Super Six has been in on Wheeling Island Stadium for how many years, Biff? Do you know off the top of your head?
I want to say 92, 94 maybe?
Sounds about right, yeah. Over 20 years, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely been over 20 years, yeah. One of those 2 years. It's either 92 or 94.
And a lot of folks over the years, at least in the beginning, a lot of folks kept trying to get to steal the Super Six, the state football championships, away from the stadium. And a couple people made bids for it, but over the years, it's just become such a well-run event here in Wheeling that the Super Six is always there. But this year, things are a little bit different. Of course, just this past weekend, three Panhandle schools, John Marshall in Marshall County, Wheeling Park and Wheeling Central in Ohio County, should have been in the playoffs first round, and they were not because our color-coded map has them the wrong color for COVID. And so they could not play football this weekend. They forfeited their games. That's kind of sad. And now Bernie Dolan is talking in some reports I've been looking at this morning about possibly moving the Super Six out of the Wheeling Island Stadium to someplace else. I'm not totally sure I get the health logistics of that, what the real issue is with that. Off our text line at 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Howard, it's not about the teams bringing COVID into our area. It's about the teams catching COVID when they get here. And again, I get that, but I mean, is COVID just floating around the stadium, ready for people to suck it in? I mean, usually it's spread person to person. So I don't know. I would agree with Biff, though, that if there's going to be a change, let it be made quickly so the decisions can be broadcast and people will know what's going on. Howard, don't lie. They're playing football because it's all about the money. You know, I disagree with that. I think a lot of the decisions the governor has made have had to do with wanting to make sure football was played. I do not believe it's about the money. I truly don't think. I think it's about the passion that people have about football. I think it's about parents who want to see their kids play, kids who want to play, fans who just want to see football, or at least know that their teams are playing football, even if you can't see it. I don't think it's about money. Biff, do you? I mean, I don't think this is I Listen, a lot of times I'm cynical. A lot of times I go, it's all about the money. But I don't think this real push on football by the governor and others is about money. Do you?
I think the state needs they need money, and the Super Six is a big money maker. There's a reason why, they had talked about having 2,000 or whatever the number, 20, 25%, whatever the number would have been. They want as many fans attending those games as they can, because when you set a limit, even though you set a limit, you're still going to make your money. You got ticket sales, you got concession stands, you got souvenirs, and like you mentioned, there's probably people out there that are going to put these games on that unless you have a subscription, they're going to charge you to watch or see it. So I think part of it in a way is this is for the SSAC to get some money back somehow, and I think that's what they were going to do. I think that's why they want to have it here.
Okay, you might be right. I'm less cynical. I think that it's just the passion for playing football, but maybe it is. Maybe it's driven by money. Anyways, more of this coming up a bit later on. Let's talk with, if it's Tuesday, it must be Squiddieri time, right?
Yes, it is.
Tom Squiddieri's here. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you as well. Things must be a little bit, you cover the Pentagon specifically, as well as all of our politics for us. Things must be a little bit, up in the air there at the Pentagon? Everybody's wondering what's happening next, huh?
Yeah, after last week, when we spoke on the phone last week, Secretary Esper had been fired, and then we had a series of high-profile resignations after that. I was over at the Pentagon, and I was there. I made a point of being there late Friday afternoon, early Friday evening. That's Friday afternoon, early evening, Howard, as you probably know, is when bad news is often released, or news that people don't want you to see is sort of snuck out. So I was there to kind of get the feel of the folks, and they were not that optimistic. And, of course, there was a 4 o'clock press conference scheduled by the president, so they were wondering what he was going to say. Now, it turned out that President Trump spoke on the vaccine and COVID and not the military. But the new acting Secretary of Defense had his first message to the troops, and basically he praised them all for the great job we're doing, but said it's time to come home now. Today and yesterday, we see more information that President Trump has ordered the Pentagon to begin planning to bring down the troop levels in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Somalia. In the first two countries, lowering it to 2,500 each, and in Somalia, where there's about 700 U.S. troops conducting training in counterterrorism mission, he wants them almost all gone. By January 15th, in other words, right before he leaves office in January. So, that seems to be a reality of policy. The president now has his folks running the Pentagon who are on board with this idea. The only problem the president faces now, is logistics. It's tough to pull 4,000 troops out of Afghanistan with all the equipment and other things. So we'll see what happens. The Esper who was fired, Mark Esper who was fired, and others had sent a memo to the White House warning about this, and even Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader of the Senate, yesterday cautioned about a pull out of Afghanistan because it would just embolden the Taliban, who, Howard, have not kept their word, not surprisingly perhaps, with the February agreement they made with the United States. So they're not sure what's going on at the Pentagon now. It's probably the most uncertain eggshell walking I've seen since covering the building for many years. And, the next 60 days or so of the Trump administration, they're not sure what's going to happen.
So, as you point out, Mark Esper is gone as defense secretary. Other key top positions now replaced by Trump loyalists. But what do the men with bars on their sleeves have to say? What's being said and thought by the military class that's in the Pentagon?
Well, they specifically in regards to Afghanistan. These are three different countries and three different missions. It should be clear. It's just not just bring the troops home, blank, slate. In Afghanistan, they always like to use the phrase conditions-based, that a withdrawal of U.S. forces should be conditions-based. That means if the Taliban is honoring their word, or if the Afghan government military forces are up to sort of taking over for the United States and NATO troops that leave, et cetera. The Pentagon don't feel that either of those conditions are being met now. That's why they want to leave some troops there. They weren't opposed to a general overall reduction in the force that occurred this year. Remember, we started out this year with about 14,000 troops in Afghanistan, and we're at 4,500 now. But years ago, even before President Trump became president, the Pentagon folks were candid in saying that a classic military victory in Afghanistan wasn't going to happen, and there's some kind of political settlement had to be reached in order to facilitate a reduction in U.S. troops. So that's been their position all along, and their concern is if you leave a void, like we did a couple times in history in Afghanistan and elsewhere, that void is filled by bad guys, and those bad guys nowadays have the capacity and means to harm the United States homeland. That's the reason we're in Afghanistan. Both politicians of all parties like to say to prevent attack on the U.S. homeland, which is a very important reason to be there or anywhere. And that's what the military's position is, that they think that, they want to get out as soon as possible or reduce the footprint to as small as possible, but they want to do it at the proper time. It's been there 20 years, and they realize it's a long time. They want to leave as much as anybody else, but their approach is somewhat different.
And it makes logical sense and thoughtful sense, and I guess I have to say I agree. We have to be very careful about this. But let's be honest, Tom, there's an emotional pull to the idea of just getting out of there. I mean, 20 years, we're all tired of fighting these wars, and there's a strong emotional pull. And I think that's what Trump is counting on, is that the public is going to emotionally say, good, let's just get these guys home. And I think also he's probably trying to saddle Joe Biden with this decision. You pull the troops out before he leaves office. If Biden agrees or disagrees with the decision today, is he going to possibly consider sending them back on January 21st? That's going to be a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's part of the larger part now of President Trump. This is speculation on my part, but it seems to me that that was one of his campaign promises to end the endless wars, and that did resonate with a lot of people for good reasons. And the slogan, I'll have them all home from Christmas, is one that was used in history in different wars by different presidents of both parties. So that does pull on emotional moments in America, emotional factors in America, many Americans. But look, let's switch for a moment to Somalia. We have 700 folks there. That's a different kind of operation. Africa is festooned with a growing terrorist problem of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and all sorts of other kind of terrorist offshoots and splinter groups. And that Somalia operation is part of a multinational operation across Africa in different countries. The French have a huge role in some of the countries where the U.S. provides logistical support. Again, do you want to have the opportunity for these groups to grow strong and attack the United States or our allies? It's a delicate balance. I'm not advocating any position here, Howard. I'm just looking at it from a pure, we fight them there, we fight them here type of approach. And so, what's the mission in Iraq? Iraq's another story. The U.S. has been slowly turning over its out bases to Iraqi troops and withdrawing into more central locations. That battle against ISIS has shifted, where indeed the Iraqi military is capable now of carrying most of the fight. They do continue to get intelligence and training from U.S. and NATO troops, forces, which is a good model. That was the model that the Pentagon hoped would take hold in Afghanistan. It has not for various reasons. But you see, it has worked to a large degree in Iraq and as opposed to Afghanistan. So the model does work. Pulling troops out of Iraq is not so much a red flag to the Pentagon as it is for Somalia and Afghanistan.
The president is still fighting his, or at least pretending to fight to keep the presidency. He's still got a few folks in court, although some of his attorneys have already dropped out. He's being rebuffed by the courts just about every place he turns in terms of wanting recounts or claiming that it's been a rigged election. So nobody seems to be buying that. Nobody seems to be buying that. It's almost been embarrassing to him in courts. But reading a piece last night saying that the president, in taking that in a private conversation, told folks, I may not win this, but we're going to fight it all the way because apparently he just wants to cause a problem for Joe Biden.
Oh, I think that that's obvious that he's going to cause a problem. He's a sore loser, as they used to say in my neighborhood. He lost the election, and again, this is not me speaking. This is the count of the voters. Yeah, he received more votes than President Obama did in both times that Obama was elected. But Joe Biden received more votes than him in this election. So there was a lot of, and the good thing about both of that is that shows how high voter turnout was. That would be a great legacy of this election if voter turnout continues to be high for future elections, that perhaps there's a concern among voters that we're not participating enough in our democracy. That's me being an optimist, of course, Howard, and I like to do that once in a while. But look, the president lost the election. He has a couple more gambits up his sleeve with trying to mess with the electoral colleges in certain states. It doesn't seem like that's going to work from Republican legislatures now we're talking about. That's the thing. I've long ago learned that logic does not prevail in any discussions with folks who are very strong Trump supporters or very anti-Trump people as well. And the fact is that my favorite one is the Georgia Secretary of State is a Republican. And he's conducting a recount sought by the Trump administration. Now that the recount is not going the president's way, the president's denouncing that recount as a phony thing and denouncing the Republican Secretary of State. Now, I still believe in the old days when there were people who were Democrats and Republicans who did what their jobs said regardless of their party, and this gentleman seems to be doing that. And the fact that we have to say he's a Republican talks about how sad the situation is. Nevertheless, it's important that Republican legislatures in states like Pennsylvania and elsewhere are scoffing at the idea that they're going to try to jimmy up the electoral college in states that Biden won, just so they can put electors who were favorable to President Trump. So, yeah, there's no reason to continue to do this other than to create havoc and to sow seeds for whatever you plan to do after you're out of office. And, I have to acknowledge Donald Trump's going to be around whether he's president or not, and he's laying the groundwork for his future, which has always been the most important thing to him.
Well, yeah, exactly right. He's not getting, well, a lot of his Republican colleagues, the folks on Capitol Hill, have privately apparently said that, this can't work. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Democracy must. But on the other hand, you see things like this weekend, Chuck Todd on Meet the Press said he asked every single Republican senator to come on and offer their opinion about Trump's continuing the battle against the election, and not a single one would come on. Not one single Republican senator would agree to come on and say these things publicly, which I guess says a couple of things. And one of the things it says is that Trump still wields one heck of a lot of power, even with people who know he's going to be gone from office on January 20th.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have 2 points to make on that, if I may. One, there's, 53 Republican senators now, and they all have their own reasons for not wanting to go on. Some of them are just Trump apologists and loyalists outright. I think others are thinking of their future, and I'm going to give them a pass on some of them a pass on this for this reason. As you just said, Trump has a lot of power still in the Republican Party, what the Republican Party has become, and a lot of these folks either have re-elections coming up in 2 years, and they don't want to have Trump supporting an opponent of them in the primary, or some of them are thinking of running for president in 2024 if Donald Trump doesn't run again, as he says he may. And whatever, again, I'm getting this. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 or 4 years, but I'm going to presume that Trump still has a power within the party, and that the last thing you want to do is irritate him to campaign for one of your opponents in an open Republican primary. I think that's one of the reasons you hear such fawning statements from Secretary Pompeo and others who have an eye on the White House. Second,
that's a good point.
Second, in regards to the Pentagon, it's as similar to this. A lot of senior Pentagon officials who were supposed to speak at some forums and stuff coming up have canceled those plans and plan to remain silent between now and January 20th for a similar reason. It's sort of why poke the bear in these last days. And, he's going to be out of office And then if you have something to say, it's already being said by other people probably who are out of the military. I'm talking about the Pentagon now. And so let them do the talking on the record. Now, I'm a journalist. I prefer people to be on the record. And there is a certain amount of, you should have said this 2 years ago maybe when you could have made a difference anyway. So, they are what they are, the Republican senators. They didn't want to go on TV to talk about what? The election that Joe Biden won that they don't want to say. Okay, that's not much of a backbone, but I could see their position. And you know what? We'll see what happens in January 20th, whether they continue to sort of support Trump, where they realize it's time to sort of start working in other areas.
I don't know if it was a goal of Donald Trump's from when he became president, but it certainly has been an objective that's been achieved, maybe purely by circumstance, and that is to delegitimize so many of the institutions that we used to trust, like the Justice Department and the FBI, and now in the media, of course, and now democracy itself. I mean, he's trying to delegitimize the democratic process. That may be his lasting legacy, is the delegitimizing of so many of our key institutions in this country.
That's his method of operation. Remember earlier in his term, he went after the NFL and people for kneeling in the sidelines and that. And he did it. He saw it. I always thought that President Trump read the American population very, very well. There was a famous interview he gave, I can't remember to who now, several years ago, where he talked about if he ever ran for president, he would do it as a Republican instead of a Democrat because these are Republican voters. He was using a trick. I'm paraphrasing him a little bit, but that's what he was saying. Whether he believes this stuff or not, I don't ever know, to be honest with you. But he may have looked at the audiences that are out there, just as he did when he was on The Apprentice or the TV show, and knew how to play the audience. And he saw where his path could be. And from the moment he came down an elevator attacking Mexicans and immigrants, he knew the group that many of us didn't believe existed in this country, and it did. He's correct. He had a record number of votes in the sense of more than President Obama received. After 4 years in office, people saw President Trump and still decided to vote for him in record numbers. And that tells me that President Trump knew exactly what his voter group was, what they wanted to hear, what they wanted to see and not see. He really hasn't accomplished anything in 4 years. His tax cut was probably the most major legislative effort, in other words, a pro effort that he launched. Everything else was negative, almost. Sanctions, this, repeal this, lift that. There wasn't much. There was never any infrastructure bill like he had promised, obviously. And, obviously Mexico didn't pay for the wall, which no one really believed was going to happen anyway. So, yeah, he succeeded by attacking others. China for the virus, NATO members for not paying enough. And there was some legitimacy and stuff like that. NATO members needed to pay more. But it was always on the attack. The NFL, the Democrats, the media, liberals, crime in the streets. This is what he said. This is what Biden's America is going to look like when he points to fights in the street that were going on while he was president. So applying logic is not working here. And I realize that, this is about him and it's his history. Even when he always would sue. When someone would bring a complaint against one of his businesses or operations, he would sue first. He's following the same pattern he has all of his career.
Yeah, exactly. And it will, the delegitimizing efforts will continue after January 20th.
Yes.
They'll continue from the sidelines, but he's got a pretty big sideline to run from, so it's going to be interesting. Tom, I appreciate your time today, as always, on our Tuesdays. We'll do it again next week. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Great. Have a great day. Thanks, Howard. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Tom Squidieri from our D.C. team checking in every Tuesday with us for a little roundup of the key political stories. He is a Pentagon correspondent, so we spent a lot of time talking about the military and the Pentagon, and, of course, a political analyst with us as well. Here on the Watchdog Morning Show, we'll step out of the controversial issues. We'll get away from politics and Trump. We'll get away from the Super Six and color-coded maps, and we'll get away from wearing masks and so on for a little bit in our next segment. When we talk with Mario Armstrong, he's been with us before. He is a digital lifestyle expert, a blogger, does a lot of researching into things that are happening online, if you will. And we're going to talk about Mario's Holiday Countdown as our Countdown to Christmas series continues with some gift ideas on tech gifts and gaming gifts and even some holiday cards. It's all coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show. But first, let us check, my friends, Ohio Valley headlines.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's
Biff, like yesterday, you figure the timing out, but if you want to hold Tony until after Mario Armstrong, he's a Radio Row, so it's a 10-minute deal. We could do a second break with Tony after that. You figure it out, whatever works, you think. Do some headlines here, get a couple spots in, and then we can... All right, and then I'll do Tony after we're done with him. Sounds good to me. Thank you.
With available all-wheel drive, all with $1,000 cash back from Toyota. Take $1,000 back on a 21 gas model Corolla or $1,500 on a hybrid or a Highlander with seating for 8 and take up to $2,500 cash back. Take $2,000 cash back on a sporty new 2020 gas model Camry or $3,000 on a hybrid model Camry. Visit buyatoyota.com, Toyota's official website for deals, to check out inventory, build your own Toyota, and to find a dealer near you. All to help make buying or leasing your next Toyota easy and affordable. You can take cash back or apply toward down payment. Offers exclude TRD Pro models and hybrid offers vary. See your dealer for details. Toyota-thon is on, so hurry, go.
Okie doke. Thank you.
I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. Mostly cloudy, the chance for a scattered shower or maybe even a snowflake or two in the forecast. High near 41. Overnight low, 27 degrees under partly cloudy skies. A mix of clouds and sunshine for your Wednesday, with highs in the lower 40s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Tony Caridi and the Mountaineer Report coming up shortly here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Do remind you, it is a Tuesday, so Coach Brown's press conference today at noon today, right, Biffy?
Yes, the Neil Brown press conference at noon today.
From 12 until 1, and then, of course, after that, the abbreviated edition of the Bill DeFabio Variety Show right here on the Watchdog. Today being Tuesday, it's DJ Daner coming in this afternoon with the afternoon drive. So keep it tuned here throughout the day today. But if you can't, listen, as I said, as you heard Mr. Big Voice Announcer Man saying, don't forget to check us out on our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. Click on the podcast. 38 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. It feels like temperature of 31. 38 degrees here at my home studios in Elm Grove. Cloudy outside with the possibility of some rain and or flakes or flurries coming before too much longer. 38 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Maybe those flakes or flurries, if they do come today, will give us a little better feel for the fact that, ho, 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 we need a little Christmas. It's coming up pretty soon here in the upper Ohio Valley and everywhere around the world. Of course, it's just about Christmas time. Believe it or not, I've been doing some of my own shopping. I want to welcome to the show Mario Armstrong, digital lifestyle expert, talks a lot about technology, among other things. Mario, good morning, sir.
What's up, Watchdog family? It's good to be on with you guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Good to have you with us again. And a lot of folks, I've begun my little series, my yearly series of Countdown to Christmas last week, and people are going, oh, come on, Howard, a little bit too early for that. But it's really not. I mean, it's not. It's time for us to be thinking about the gifts. I've been ordering a few things online. I'm kind of COVID hermit anymore, so I'm staying at home. I guess everybody's looking for A, ordering online, and B, trying to find just the right gift when you do.
Yeah, man. And look, and this year's been crazy. So, there's nothing wrong with starting. If that's a joyous season for you, there's nothing wrong with starting a little bit early. My kid wanted to do some decorations around the house. Like, we've already did some decorations inside. I'm like, are we really putting this stuff outside too? Like right now, are we doing this? And I've seen a few neighbors with their lights going up already. So I think, everybody's starting to really get into the mood. They realize that it's here. And you're right. You're going to want to do some shopping early because there's going to be a lot of gifts being bought online. So you want to make sure that you get ahead of the shipping and any of those potential issues. Yep. So I partnered up with some great brands. For those of you that have a nice list, I got you covered with some awesome gift ideas today.
My family is a real tech. By the way, you talk about people getting things put up. I was watching one of the neighbors last night. I think it was Clark Griswold. I'm not sure. He had the brightest, biggest lights out there. It was the dead of night, and he's hanging these lights, and he's got giant spotlights. And I'm thinking, man, this guy is. But you know what? It made me smile. It made me smile. So that's good. Listen, we're a real techie family.
As long as you don't get the Griswold turkey, everything is all good.
You're right. We're a very techie family in my family. Everybody loves their technology. And because we're very techie, we tend to get, a lot of stuff technologically over the year. Anything particularly new or different or interesting that I might be thinking about as a gift for others, or maybe they want to think about as a gift for me?
Yeah. Well, that's a really look. What I'm wearing right now is, I'm kind of hinting at my wife, like, hey, here's what I'm looking for. I'm wearing it right now. I have several different gifts that I think are really great, that I think are going to hit a variety of different people. But the one I'm wearing right now is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 3, the titanium edition smartwatch. I mean, this thing is really hot. It's elegant. It's lightweight, but it's really durable at the same time. If you could imagine, it's a mystic black matte color with links, and the finish on this is absolutely stunning. It's got a rotating bezel. So basically, to access all the smart features on the device, you just grab the dial face and just kind of twist it and rotate to whatever feature that you want. And I mean, they have a ton of them. Things like on-demand blood oxygen tracking, advanced running metrics. Like I knew I took 200 steps this morning already. It's got a sleep tracker, beats per minute on here as well. Reminders when to get up and move around if you've been too stagnant or sitting still too long. So really, really great, not only functional watch, but I'm a fashion guy. I like my eyewear, I like my sneakers, and I like my watches. And so I'm really impressed with what Samsung Watch 3 has done.
And isn't that somewhat the problem with some of the smart watches is that they're very useful, technologically sound, but they're not the sharpest looking fashion accessory,
Great point. That's why I've been off of them for so long. Honestly, when the other brands came out and they had them, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just not impressed. I was walking around with like a wood finished watch because I just, if I'm going to wear a watch, I want it to kind of be a little impressive for me as well. And so you're right. Like this is a circular face, not just a square face. They have different varieties for different types of people because everyone has a different, style. But this particular one, the titanium edition, really is for that person that wants something classy, but that also has all those features. I mean, I was doing calls from my watch. Like my phone is in another place and it pops up with any messages that I want to see, and I can actually talk and hear a phone call at the same time. So they got $100 off right now for a limited time if you want to check it out at Samsung.com.
Now, how about something we can personalize for gift giving this year?
Oh, I love personalizing gifts because, when you do that, it kind of shows you took the extra step, right? So Minted.com is my favorite place for this. Every year I'm talking about Minted because they get it right. The stuff shows up incredible. It's personalized.
I'm sorry, Mari, excuse me, Mari, before you Minted, Minted, is that what it is? Minted.com?
Yes. Thanks for clarifying.
Good.
Yeah,
right.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yep.
Minted.com. And it's a place basically where you can create these customizable gifts. Now, what's different about this and what's really unique is that they work with independent artists, like thousands of them, which I love. They employ people that are independent artists. And these independent artists make these great, high-quality, unique gifts and fresh holiday designs. So all types of things that you can choose from. So you can upload your pictures of your favorite people or favorite moments or maybe your favorite pets and create kind of like these cherished keepsakes. So things that you can create are limitless, but some of my favorites are, one thing that's really selling really hot this year is their modern heart snapshot. If you could imagine, I think this is about, I don't know the exact size of this frame, maybe 24 by 36 or maybe 12 by 24, but it's a wooden frame, it's all framed in, but you would upload your pictures that you would want, and it makes a collage of those pictures into the shape of a heart that fills the frame. And so it looks amazing. It's only $38. It starts at $38 for that. So really great gifts. They got photo pillows. They have custom journals and custom notebooks where you can put your children's faces on them and pictures. So if you really are looking for something customized and you want it to be really good material and it show up on time, go to Minted.com.
That's a really great recommendation for me. I'm really big on personalization, and it's hard to find things online unless you know where you're looking for them that you can personalize. I love the sound of that because I'm going to, as soon as the show gets over this morning, I'm going to go to Minted.com. Now, I'm not much of a gamer, but are the new gaming things coming out this year?
Oh, there's so many things. So I'll talk a little bit about Nintendo and what they got going on. But first, let me talk about virtual reality as it relates to gaming because this is a big trend. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Oculus Quest 2, but this is the newest VR headset that you wear, wraps around your head. It's from Facebook. The performance in this thing, super fast so it's immersive. You got these wireless controllers that are in your hand, one little controller in your left and one in your right hand, and you're wearing the headset, the VR headset, and I'm telling you, tons of games and fitness apps. Like things where if you want to travel to go see historic monuments and museums and beautiful places, there's a National Geographic VR game and app in there. If you want to do like kickboxing and fitness, that's a lot of fun where you're like punching things that are showing up. That's a great game in there. Oh, and I love the virtual concerts. So like if your kids are like missing going out or going to a show, they actually have virtual concerts that are happening in VR as well. So I really think taking a look at the Oculus Quest 2 is not only a big trend that people are into, but it's super enjoyable and everybody can play it. There are no wires or strings attached to it, so it's a lot of fun. And it starts at $299 for that.
We were having some family conversation this week about, gifts, and my daughter-in-law says, well, I'm the only one that she hasn't yet gotten a gift for. And she actually said, maybe you'd like one of these new VR type things, and I don't know, but man, I'm thinking about taking a National Geographic game or something. That might be kind of fun. I'm not going for the kickboxing. I'm going to tell you that right now.
You're not going to do that, no.
No, but that might be. I may revisit, go back to her and say, yeah, that's not a bad idea after all.
Yeah, you should really go to the website, go check it out, go check out Oculus 2, and just watch some of the videos. And get a sense of what the experience is really like. It's a lot of fun, and it's a shareable experience, so it's cool. But it's really impressive. So I would definitely check it out. It's something unique and different, that's for sure.
Time's almost up, Mario. But real quick, you mentioned Nintendo. What should we look for in the Nintendo world this year?
Yeah, so Nintendo, everything that you want to get for anything gaming, by the way, just head over to GameStop because they are the go-to for all your gaming stuff, but also collectibles. And this is a big collectible year. It's the 35th anniversary, by the way, of Super Mario Brothers. And my brother.
Oh man, did I love Super? Oh, I loved that game. I loved that game.
Dude, my name is Mario. My brother has been calling me Luigi all my life. He just messes with me so much around this. But the Nintendo Switch is a portable, it's basically a home console. This is a big thing that's hot, the Nintendo Switch. It transforms into a portable on-the-go gaming system, so you can take it with you wherever you want to go. They also have the Mario Kart Live, which is Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which is a game that you can create a real-life Mario Kart Grand Prix course that comes to life through augmented reality. It's really cool. You got to go online. And as I mentioned, the 35th anniversary. So they got all types of stuff like tree toppers as ornaments for your trees, all types of collectibles. Great ideas that you can find. Just go to their website at GameStop.com/GiftHub. And during this COVID time, one other quick idea is that Facebook has a product called Portal. And I don't know if you've seen this. These are like video frames where you can make video calls. So you can put this like in your kitchen or in your living room, and you can make video calls through this and see other family members and connect to them if you can't be with them. So I think it's a great time for something like that to connect with those family friends. And I love how the camera follows you. So if you move while you're in the kitchen and you're talking, it's like having your own videographer follow you along with you as well.
Yeah, I've seen some promos on that. That is the neat function that you don't have to be sitting rigid in front of the screen for it to work, but you can move about and it moves with you. I like that, and I love I love the Nintendo stuff and the Mario Kart stuff. My kids were kids of that generation. Early Mario games I loved. My kids loved them. My grandson, who we spent a lot of time with, has now been playing Mario Kart. So we'll look for some new ideas for him too. All right. So you've given us a bunch of ideas. Do you pull them all together somewhere? Is there some single place I can go to look for this kind of stuff?
You know what? Thanks for asking, because sometimes that gets overlooked and it's a lot to go through. We have the pictures, details, the links, everything. So just go to techgifts.tv. That's techgifts with an S, GIFTS.tv. And if you need me personally, I'm available online. If you're on Instagram, just go to @MarioArmstrong. You can follow me or send me a direct message there, or on Twitter, the same thing, and I'll answer your questions.
Mario, appreciate your time. As always, thanks a lot. Have yourself a great holiday, and we'll talk again, I'm sure.
You do the same, my friend. Stay safe, and please, no Griswold turkeys at your house.
No,
all right?
But the Griswold lights I'm into. Thanks a lot, Mario. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. All right.
7 before the hour on the Watchdog Morning Show. Mario Armstrong, a lifestyle expert, does a lot of blogging, and he's the NBC Today Show digital expert, for example, and so we borrowed him a little bit to have him here on the show. We do it with him almost every year. I think Biff, he's been on before. He's a neat guy, but Yeah, a couple of those things sound like really neat ideas. My daughter-in-law asked me the other day, she said, well, what do you think about this virtual reality thing? You know, you put the little headset on and then it creates that artificial reality. And I don't know, I thought that's kind of weird, but I don't know, the more Mario described it, the more I'm thinking that might be kind of cool. might be kind of, again, I am definitely not going for the kickboxing, but maybe the National Geographic stuff. For more info, as we mentioned, go to techgifts.tv, and all of these things are put together there. And I have to be serious about this. There are several things he mentioned here that I will absolutely be looking up today to see as possible gifts. So check that out. Well, what do the Mountaineers play this weekend, Biffy?
Bye.
Oh, this is a bye week for them. Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's take a look at that bye week and see what's happening with Tony Caridi in our Morning Mountaineer Report right now.
A pair of Mountaineers nabbed some Big 12 hardware. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony.
Hey, little buddy. I'm still on the radio, yeah. And put that in your ear?
That's good.
Yeah. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
You getting ready for school?
Yeah.
Okay.
These are still my pajamas.
How come you're still in your pajamas? I don't know. You better get dressed. All right, you have a good school. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye. Sorry, Biff. I hope he puts them on before he goes to school, though. I don't want him going to school. Get some clothes on. Oh. I'm in my pajamas. Granddaddy's in his pajamas all day. That's that's what worries me. I can see that as well, definitely. That Mario Armstrong's pretty good. We've had him before. He's pretty energetic, but he's pretty good. Yeah, but that's good. I like that. All right. Get ready for Mark Curtis.
Basketball news now. The NCAA announcing on Monday that instead of the traditional format for the NCAA tournament of using multiple locations, this year's tournament would be played in one general area, most likely in the state of Indiana, around Indianapolis. Their attempt is to create a controlled environment, not a bubble. 68 teams will still be invited. The NCAA's Vice President of Basketball, Dan Gavitt, says specific protocols will be put in place for venues, facilities, hotel, transportation, and medical resources as they attempt to make the NCAA as safe as possible. The Mountaineer basketball team will open up its season a week from Wednesday when they take on Texas A&M. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
You can now watch the Legislative Watchdogs every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. Talk radio taken to the next level. Only on the Watchdog. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Well, we had the Morning Mountaineer Report. Don't forget, we'll have Tony Caridi and Coach Brown's press conference coming up today at noon here on the Watchdog. And then, let's see, Thursday night is the coach's show, right, Biffy? I always forget that. Thursday night, yes?
Yeah, the Neil Brown show from 6 to 8 on both stations. And then the Ryan Day radio show from 8 to 9 on AM 1370 and 97.7 FM.
So the Ohio Valley is home of the Mountaineers and the Buckeyes, and you can catch coaches' conversations and special reports and so on all throughout the week. Well, next hour we'll talk about the Governor Justice cracked down on mask wearing and got pretty tough. Even said call the cops if you find people that are not actually wearing masks. He was talking about that last week and got a lot of blowback from that, pushback on that over the weekend. But he came out swinging again yesterday, basically saying, I know that you don't like it, but I think we've got to do it. Governor DeWine was also in the area from Ohio. He was at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport yesterday, saying he doesn't want to have another shutdown, but he wants to have a slowdown. So we'll talk about some of this stuff coming up next hour with my old friend Mark Curtis. Mark, of course, the chief political correspondent for Nexstar Media. Nexstar Media, the parent company of WTRF TV. So Mark's coming up in the next hour of the show. Right now, ABC covers the world for us.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
We must stay at